Hello and welcome to the weekly Global Heartstream. I'm Gabriel Gonzalez, a professional coach, artist, and speaker who enjoys traveling the world, connecting with amazing people, and talking about the longest, most rewarding journey that you'll ever embark on, the 12-inch journey between your head and your heart. Through individual and group coaching programs, online courses, and live seminars, I teach a heart-centered approach to personal mastery, leadership development, and spiritual growth that helps people become the most loving, joyful, and powerful version of themselves. The Global Heartstream is a weekly dedicated space to help you reconnect with your heart, raise your vibrational frequency, and remind you just how powerful, loving, and amazing you already are. It's also an invitation to unify our hearts with the intention of bringing more love, compassion, and healing to a world that so desperately needs it. You can find out more about my work by visiting gabrielgonsalves.com, where you can also sign up for my weekly newsletter, join the Heart Leader community, and register for my upcoming seminars. And if you enjoy this Heartstream, please be sure to subscribe, like, or comment so that we can reach more people and help make this a more loving, compassionate, and heart-centered world. Hello and welcome to the Global Heartstream. I'm your host, Gabriel Gonzalez, broadcasting live today, Wednesday, the 28th of September, 2022, from the beautiful city of Granada, after having taken a really lovely summer break and this past 3 weeks walking the Camino de Santiago, which is a little bit of what I'm going to be sharing about today as we resume these weekly broadcasts that I know have been missed. I've gotten so many messages from so many of you and other videos, and then also via email asking me, Gabriel, when are you going to get back to these broadcasts? We miss you. We miss them. So it's really comforting to know that I've not only been the one, I've not been alone missing you, but that you have also been missing it as well. We need more spaces like this, don't we? I want to give a shout out and a hello to Cindy. Cindy, you are the first comment of this new season. Welcome, Cindy's Heart. Hello, Isabel, Ellen, Irish. Isabel, I miss you. Ellen, I miss you. Isabel and Ellen were part of the group of participants that joined me in this week's or this year's Pilgrimage of the Heart. And I think we're all feeling the sadness and the grief of having to return back home to our other realities after having adventures in Spain. And, I don't know about y'all, but for me, I really do miss that sense of freedom. One of the things that I've been sitting with for this past few days since I came back is just a tremendous amount of resistance. And I don't blame myself. I mean, after you experience this sense of absolute freedom and the adventurous spirit of traveling, walking 24, 25 kilometers a day, sleeping in a different place every night, being exposed to different music, foods, cultures, there's a sense of freedom that comes with that. And so I was sitting down in meditation a couple of days ago, connecting with my inner child, whose name is Pepe, by the way. That was my nickname that my parents or I went by when I was a kid. And when I connected with little Pepe, he was just really telling me that he just misses just the fun of being outdoors, the playfulness that the Camino invites, that arises out of this sense of freedom. So let me ask you, how are you? How's your summer? How's your break? If you could just write down one word or two words that expresses what your summer was like, because it came to an end. Unfortunately, it came to an end. When was it? This past Saturday, Sunday, that we had the equinox, as you know, that marks the transition now into a new season. I mean, 2 weeks ago, it would be unthinkable for me that I'd be doing a broadcast wearing a sweater, but the temperature here in Granada has dropped quite a bit, especially at night. So how was your summer? How was your break? As we move into this new season, which it appears to be a new season, obviously in the planet and a planetary season and weather season, but it's really more like a new season of our lives, because let's face it, the geopolitical events that are taking place around us are redefining the power structures within the world, and it's also inviting us to look at our own internal power structures. In other words, what is it that you've been given power to your life this past few months? What is it that has been pushing you, motivating you, moving you forward? Hello, Kelly Billings. Thank you for being here today. And those of you who are arriving just now. So, Cindy's heart says shifting. Yeah, you've been having a shifting time. Yeah, it is times of shift, times of change. Ima Garcia, bienvenida. Welcome from Sitges. Where's Sitges, Ima? Please forgive my ignorance. Or Sitges. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. All right, well, in this very first episode of this new season, we are going to, or rather, I am going to share with you some of the highlights and some of my own personal lessons from this year's pilgrimage of the heart, which is my fourth Camino de Santiago. And then I'm going to be guiding us into a meditation designed, again, to reconnect to the heart of all hearts, the eternal heart of the divine, the infinite loving heart of God. So we can then energize our hearts and find a sense of fellowship and shared unity in that one heart. Radiate love and compassion to ourselves, to each other, to the world that so badly needs it. And then we're going to explore the very powerful and simple question from this oneness with the divine. Ask a very powerful question. What is God asking from you in this next stage of your life? What is the divinity within you, your own inner Christ self, your Buddha nature, your Atman presence, yourself with a big S? What is it asking you to do, to be, to experience, to have in this next stage of our lives as we transition? We'll be exploring that question. But before we dive in, I have just one brief announcement. I only have one today. All right. For those of you who have been following my work for quite a while, I'm happy to announce that the launching of a new course within the Heart Leader Academy. This is actually the basic introductory course that we created called Heart Mastery. It's a 7-week course designed to give you all the foundational principles, tools, and practices that will help you establish a deeper connection with your own heart. And then from that space, reconnect to your own inner source of love, wisdom, and power so that you can start creating a new vision for your life. And then you're going to be learning a very powerful system of reality manifestations that uses the power of your heart, the power of your spoken word, the power of your creative imagination, and the power of action and human will to create a life that you love, a life that is in greater alignment with who you really are. One of the things that is a natural byproduct of heart awakening is that when you wake up to your heart, you realize, like, I have not been living my own life. I've been living, the life that other people planned for me, that my parents wanted for me, that society, culture, etc., wanted for me. I have not really been living my own life. And so then there is an invitation then to start designing a life and a lifestyle that really expresses who you are. And this is why I have this connection with little Peppy, because I believe your inner child is the gatekeeper, so to speak, of your heart.
Many of us have so many wounds around our hearts that the little inner child has become literally like has gone back into a closet to protect themselves. And so diving into our or establishing this connection with our inner child requires a sense of safety and preparation as well. So if you feel called to embark on this journey with me and participate in this new introductory course that starts tomorrow, September 29th, it's a 7-week online course. Please visit my website, gabrielgonzal.com, and then there you can go to where it says online courses, and you can read more about it and sign up if that feels right to you. Ima Garcia, Sitges is in Barcelona. Okay, I did not know that. You know, all this time I've been in Spain, I've yet to visit Barcelona. The majority of my fellow actors, when I used to do soap operas in Venezuela, the majority of them, once the TV station where we used to work was closed down by the government, the majority of them moved to Madrid and Barcelona. So I have so many friends from that chapter of my life who live in Barcelona, including some family as well. I have a niece that lives out there. I believe she works for Royal Caribbean Cruise, the cruise line. Veronica Camargo, welcome. Yeah, miss you too, Veronica. Thank you very much for being here. So for those of you who are just joining us right now, I asked at the very beginning if you could just share 1 or 2 words that describe what was your summer like, since we're now moving into this next stage. All right, Camino time, adventures on the way to Santiago. Of course, the way to Santiago is the Camino de Santiago. Ever since I heard about the Camino quite a few years ago from my friend Graham in South Africa, I just knew I was going to walk it. Has that ever happened to you, that somebody tells you about an experience and you just know like, I don't know when, I don't know how, but I'm going to do that? Well, that's exactly how I felt. And I think within 3, almost 4 years after that, I was embarking on my first Camino. In fact, the Camino, like most journeys, spiritual, workshops and seminars, it begins the moment you signed up. So for me, the Camino really began the moment I set the intention to walk it, because at that time, when I was living in South Africa, I had an office and the majority of my clients were local clients. And I knew that Camino, for me to be able to walk it, would require me to change how I worked with people. It required me to start building an international audience and going online and seeing clients, via Zoom and teaching courses like the one I'm teaching right now. So that Camino was a catalyst. The very first Camino, I worked the French way. And that Camino became more than I even envisioned, because after I arrived in Santiago, which is normally the end of the Camino, I continued to Finisterre, which is the end of the earth, right? It's the westernmost side of Galicia. It basically means the end of the earth, as I just said, in Finisterre in Latin. Remember, all the north of Portugal and Spain was under Roman domination, just like the south was under Moorish domination. That's why we have so many Arabic names down here of the cities, and in the north they're more Roman. Anyway, after I arrived in Finisterre, spent a few days there hiking and swimming at the beach and resting, I received a vision to travel to the land of my forefathers, Madeira, and on another sacred pilgrimage, and to pray for forgiveness. It wasn't later until I discovered that when I started reading about my family history, that my family were some of the first settlers of the island of Madeira. And not only that, they were also very involved in the slave trade of that period. In case you're not aware of the Azores Islands, when the Portuguese arrived, they were deserted. There was no one there. And at that time, Portugal was starting to grow sugar, basically providing sugar for all of Europe. And so since they had already gone down to the Indies, or what they thought was the Indies, and already established colonies in South Africa and Mozambique, etc., they started basically bringing in labor that, as became later on as the slave trade. So anyway, I had some visions of little children being separated from their parents, being sold, and all the pain that was caused during that time. And I was just simply, I just received this guidance. You need to go to Madeira and the island of San Miguel and pray for forgiveness and really understand where you came from, where your lineage came from. And that was an incredibly powerful and also difficult journey, because I was really just following my heart and the internal guidance that I received. But nonetheless, the end of that pilgrimage culminated in the island of San Miguel, where I spent quite a bit of time in the furnas. They're like these hot waters, and I got this incredible sense that I was just being washed and cleansed after the Camino and the journey. And then the triumphant, I cannot call it anything other than that, arrival into Fatima in Portugal, which is really where I was received by the Divine Mother, and an overwhelming sense of just joy filled my heart. I had never really experienced up until then the power of the Divine Mother's heart. Could never really understand the cult to the Immaculate Heart of Mother Mary until I actually had an experience of it. Because here's the thing, many of us enter this realm of spiritual growth or spirituality at first through a lot of informations and concepts and stories we read about in books and other people's experiences. And that's all great and wonderful, because it begins to inform you with regards to the map that or of the territory that you're about to embark on. But the map is not the territory. This is what the community begins to show you. Okay, there were quite a few people who walked with me, who, when I told them about the territory and showed them pictures and everything, they had all these fears and they were concerned and what's going to happen. But once we were there, they were filled with joy and enthusiasm. And not that it was not challenging, but the experience was completely different than they had imagined it would be. And so it's the same thing when you move from the world of concepts and ideas about spirituality, about unconditional love, into the realm of the actual experience of love. Something that basically leaves you speechless, because there are no words. Once the overwhelming feeling of just love wells up in your heart, it's like the throat closes and there's just nothing that can be expressed at that moment. It's incredibly overwhelming. And that's what I experienced in Fatima. And that's also then when I knew, without a doubt, that I would be taking people in the future on a similar journey. Perhaps not the month-and-a-half journey that I went on when I went on my own, but at least give people a taste of what I had experienced. And then that was the birth of the pilgrimage of the heart from Fatima to Santiago. Basically, I created this experience where a small group of people, the majority of them students from past courses that I had taught, would come. We would meet in Fatima for the weekend, and then we would experience that divine love that I've been speaking about, to then begin our pilgrimage slowly to Santiago, stopping at the city of Tomar, which was the last standing Templar city of the West before the entire order was shut down, was basically annihilated, and then culminating in Santiago. So it's a journey from the mother to the father, because obviously Santiago as the apostle of Christ and his relics being in the city of Santiago, which were brought in from Palestine, represent the connection with Christ, and through Christ, through the Father. So I found it to be kind of like a harmonious way to go about this pilgrimage. Now, I want to share something with regards to this experience that I've not shared with anybody. Okay? And I think some of you may relate to what I'm going to share. I found that the thing that we call the spiritual journey or the journey of spiritual awakening is filled with different stages, as you know. And obviously, we all don't move through the same stages at the same pace, but I find them to be quite common. And at the beginning, there's this sense of I need to have information. I want to read all the books. I want to soak up all this, everything I can learn about spirituality, about ascension, about the heart, about love, about etc. Right? And then as a result of that, you start first immersing yourself in every book you can get. So you start gathering information and you start just having like this mental orgasm when you begin to be exposed to all these ideas and all paradigms of how the world and life is supposed to work begin to fall apart and something new begins to arise. And that's a wonderful stage to be in. And during that time then I found that I just had this incredible need to leave the world and go to a retreat center and connect with other people who were basically having the same experience that I was and commune with them and compare notes and compare experiences. And maybe in these retreats there were more talks, there were more information, more meditative process, more healing experiences that contributed to the path. But then what I realized was that as I began then to deepen my connection with my heart, I started to realize that there were all these blocks, all these wounds, all these traumas, all these parts of my heart that were hidden from me, that were protected in essence. This is part of what I call the heart wall, which is a topic that Dr. Harvey Nielsen discusses at great length in his book, The Emotion Code. But in essence, part of my heart that to protect my own heart had become hardened, had become numb. And so those started to come up to the surface. And so what happens when the wounded begins to come up? Because here's the thing about anyone who chooses to follow the path of love. The moment you summon love in, love itself begins to summon all unlovingness, right, to come out. And so as that begins to happen, then you no longer want to be surrounded with people. Why? Because your wounding is coming up. Your shadows are being triggered. And some of it may have even been triggered by some of the people that you were enjoying this first spiritual experience with. You thought everything was going to be like, La La Land and singing Kumbaya and we love you songs. But now shame, guilt, anger, regret, and this deep void begins to accumulate within it. You don't know what to do with it. And so then there's a need now to withdraw. And during that time, you may work in a very small group or a circle. In fact, this is a lot of the work that we do within the Heart Leader Academy. We learn how to hold that safe space for ourselves and for other people so that light can begin to shine in all those aspects within us where there was no light before, or the light needs to get in. So the light of compassion, the light of forgiveness, the light of understanding. And as we begin to then to lighten the load, as we begin to release what no longer serves us, what was ultimately not even true, all the lies that we bought, as we begin to release and let go a lot of the mental programmings that came from family, teachers, priests, politicians, commercials, all of that, right? Little by little, you begin to return to yourself, your true identity, right? You begin to slowly come back home to yourself. And then as that begins to happen, then suddenly there is an increased desire and longing then to reconnect with people, okay? So that you can share the good news, so that you can now share your love, your compassion, your wisdom, your experiences, your support for other people. Now, why am I sharing these stages with you? Well, because I was moving through these different experiences when I was walking the Camino. My first Camino, for the most part, was a very painful experience. As I was saying, I mean, yes, of course, I enjoyed it. And I would still say it was possibly the best Camino because it had that element of newness. I had no idea what to expect. In fact, when I had heard about the Camino, I watched, the very famous movie with Emilio Estevez and Martin Sheen. Everybody should watch it, by the way, in case you've never seen it. I highly recommend it. But I did not know a lot about the actual logistics of it. I just went. All right, and so the second Camino, it was an even deepening of my journey. Now, the third Camino was the first time that I invited a group of people to walk it with me. And even though I was walking it with them, I was still quite in my own process, I have to admit. I was holding space for them and also holding space for myself. But this last Camino was very different. What made it different and what made it so special is that there was a strong sense of walking it with a group of people who were just like me, who were each walking with their own pain, with their own challenges, with their own hopes, desires. And it was a sense of being able to hold the light for myself and for them. That is really what made it very, very, very special. I think the best way I can describe this last Camino is with that African proverb that says something like, I'm paraphrasing, it says something like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go farther, go with someone. Go together, go with a group of people. And that's how I felt. So I felt I was able to reach a new level of compassion, understanding, and even of joy within me as I walked. And that somehow made the journey, I would not say effortless, because there was a lot of sweating and a lot of difficult moments, but it certainly made it. It eased the load. It eased the load. And I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful to everyone who participated in this year's Camino. I had some profound realizations that came as a result. Received many confirmations along the way. And, there's this sign that you see in Santiago when you arrive that says, the real Camino begins now. And I wholeheartedly agree. Because one thing's that the Camino ends when you arrive in Santiago and you get your Compostela and you get like the little piece of paper to prove to everyone that you made it, that you got through, etc. But the truth is that, in the olden days, the Camino began when you left your house and it ended when you came back home. And so the Camino will continue. We'll continue to walk the Camino as you walk back home, as you notice, as the memories come up, as the lessons and the teachings continue to show up, and will continue to show up even after you get back home, because here's the ultimate truth, is that the Camino has changed you. You're not the same person who left. The person that came back home, it's a different person that the person has left, and therefore you can expect, when you walk the Camino, if you feel called to do that, that as a result of walking the Camino, you will not be the same person. And because you will not be the same person, you can expect then many changes in your life. Right? Like Maya Angelou used to say, when you know better, you do better. And so when you have acquired greater wisdom, when you have grown as a person, when you have grown in compassion, when you have overcome your fears, your resistance, right? As a result of that, you can expect that you're going to be doing things differently. And when you do things differently, things begin to change. So that's what I wanted to share about the Camino. And who here feels called to do the Camino someday, to walk the pilgrimage? Who here has walked it? Lila, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Lila says, welcome back. Hello, Gabs and everyone. Welcome back. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Leila. Thank you also for the beautiful messages that you left. Kelly, let me look at the comments. Kelly says, wow, this is so in line with things I've been experiencing and called to lately about the Divine Mother. When I feel that love, I can only cry. Yes, it's overwhelming, isn't it? It's like I can't handle that capacity of love and my body just cries in reaction. It's a good cry. Yes, it's a very, very healing cry. It's a very, very healing cry. It's a liberating cry. It's a cry that you know it's beyond. It comes from a place that I can only describe, if anything, as your soul. Marilyn Leary says that my parents were born in Madeira. Marilyn, you and I probably have some past lives together then. Maybe you share some DNA. Nancy says, summer was like a pineapple. We have a saying in Venezuela that is, you're like a pineapple under the arm. It's like, instead of saying a pain in the ass, they say you're like a pineapple under the arm. Sarah says, my summer was quite busy. Faith, welcome. She says, I work too much and would love to manifest a good break. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Cindy says, I plan on walking it. I wanted it for a while. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, keep thinking about it. That's how I manifested it. I created it. All right. It's time now to move into the second half of our time together, which, as you know, it's our time for heart connection. It's an invitation to now really embody some of the things that we've been speaking about and experience this heartfelt connection within ourselves and then also with each other. So I'd like to invite you now to switch from the left brain to the right brain. So we're going to go from this side to this side. Knock on your right side of the brain, or if you're left-handed, it would be the opposite. All right, just to bring the awareness. Let us begin. Today's guided meditation will be a process to help us reconnect with our hearts, with the truth inside our hearts, and to ultimately ask for guidance, connect with the inner Christ self, the higher self, the Buddha presence, whatever name you give that aspect within you that is divine, to seek some guidance. As we step into a new chapter, into a new season of our lives, we want to ask that aspect of ourselves that knows that it knows that it knows. What is it that it wants from us? We begin by gently closing the eyes. And bringing a hand over to the middle of the chest. It doesn't matter which hand. As we now begin to breathe right there into the heart, imagining as if we could breathe right through the heart, in and out of the heart. Breathing slowly, breathing nice and deep. Gently establishing a nice even rhythm so that the inhale and the exhale are approximately the same length. As we breathe in and out of the heart, we welcome any thoughts that arise. We welcome any physical sensations, including any discomfort that we may experience. We welcome any feelings that arise. Simply offering this heart space to all that arises. With every breath, we allow the energy of the heart to begin to expand in every direction as it begins to vibrate the frequency of appreciation. Think about someone that you deeply appreciate, or someone you know deeply loves you and appreciates you. Feel that feeling of gratitude and appreciation, and allow that feeling to grow, to fill your heart. As you continue to attune to this frequency and welcome the greater sense of ease that begins to flow into our awareness, allow me to speak the following words on your behalf. In the name of the Father, the Mother, the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Speaking on behalf of everyone here today, I attune and unify my heart to the infinitely loving heart of God, the eternal heart of the cosmos, knowing that where I am, God is. That my heart is now the chalice of God's love, wisdom, and guidance. Mighty I am, presence bright in the heart of God. Fill our hearts with thy radiance, the pink, the blue, the gold, and the white. Let the triune light of love, wisdom, and power blaze, balance, and expand within us. Let the light of Christ shine in Brenda, and Cindy, and Leela, and Kelly, and Marilyn, and Nancy, and Sarah, and Faith, Veronica, Irma, Isabel, Ellen, Irish, and everyone who is here today or may be watching this replay. Let the light of Christ shine within each and every one of us. Let the light of compassion expand and blaze within, that we may rise in our ability to see beyond situations and connect with the essence of situations, people, and events in our life. Going in the awareness that life is good, and that God is life. And that right here and right now, there are no mistakes that have taken place, no mistakes taking place, or that shall take place. For life in God is an ever expanding consciousness of divine goodness. Therefore, we choose to see every event, every situation in our lives here for us, for our growth, for our healing, for our expansion. From this awareness, it becomes easier to transcend any past limitations, to let go of negative patterns, negative addictions, and step into the ultimate truth within our own hearts. We know only God is real. We know only love is real. We know. We remember. We reclaim this divine identity in Christ, anchoring ourselves in this awareness and the all-knowing truth within our hearts. For the next few moments, commune now with the presence of divine love within you. Feel appreciation for the life force that beats your heart. That heartbeat is the irrefutable proof that God is, that love is. That heartbeat is the heartbeat in the heart of God. But the energy that powers it comes directly from the center of God's heart. That's why you're guaranteed to return to the Creator, for you're part of the Creator. And one with it. In the state of unity and oneness with the love of God, we ask, dear God, Who would you like me to be in this next stage, in this next season of my life? Who would you have me be? What is it you'd like me to do differently? What is it you'd like me to let go of or start doing more of? What direction would you like me to walk? As you ask these questions, stay open, available, and receptive to the inner wisdom within you that arises naturally out of the heart. What is God asking from me in this next stage, in this next season of my life? We receive these wisdom of the heart. We receive the answers that come with openness and with gratitude. Feeling gratitude and appreciation also for all that it took to get this far. For the people that we're sharing our life journeys and experiences with. For that holy company that many of us keep, those very close friends with whom we are in true fellowship of the heart. Those who understand the complexities of walking a spiritual path and who are there to offer their hearts, their ears, their encouragement, their healing, and their unconditional love and support. We feel gratitude also for the unseen forces of angels and archangels and spirit guides that continue to support and guide us each and every day. We give thanks to the infinite loving presence of our inner Christ self, our divine essence, our Buddha nature, our Atman presence. Divine within us, that is capable of transcend any human creation or limitation. Individually and collectively, we appeal to the greater will of God to support us, to lift us up into a higher ground of being. That the conditions may be created in our lives where miracles of abundance, prosperity, health, wealth can manifest every day. Allowing the hearts of each and every one of us now to well with love, gratitude, and compassion as we radiate now this energy out to the world. Sending this gratitude, this compassion, this appreciation out to our friends and our families. Sending out our prayers for unity, peace, and healing. To the world in which we live. That the peace that surpasses all understanding will be false upon the planet, easing the suffering of those who are burdened right now, those who have lost family, friends, due to war, death, disease. Dear God, help ease the suffering. Have mercy on each and every one of us. Have mercy on us. With gratitude and thanksgiving, we receive God's grace. We receive the everlasting healing that emanates from the heart of God, knowing that it is so, according to the Father's will and according to God's plan for each and every one of us. For this, we're infinitely grateful and thankful, and we let it be. And so it is. And it is so. Amen. Gently, we can begin now to open our eyes and once again return to the full awareness of our time together here and now. Feeling energized, feeling more grounded. How are you feeling? Veronica says, it was beautiful. Amen, thank you. Yeah. More than ever, I believe the divine is asking us in these times of turbulence and change, and we're great part of the world's population is experiencing what some people refer to as growing pains more than any other time. It's important that you stay in your heart. You remain anchored and centered in the only thing that can really sustain you during these times, which is ultimately spiritual truth, spiritual reality, and the infinitely powerful presence of divinity that resides within your heart. Want to change the planet? Want to change the world? More often than not, it requires you to do absolutely nothing but just to stay in a place of love, calm, and appreciation. For that in itself radiates a frequency out to the world that is way more powerful and beneficial than any action that you could take. The energy that emanates from your heart goes out, expands hundreds of meters around you, affecting people, animals, objects around you. So by you staying in your heart, in your home, keeping your house tidy, you staying in that space, you are affecting people around you. You're helping reduce crime. You're helping reduce arguments. You're helping the overall planetary consciousness shift that is taking place. That's all. That's why I'm dedicated or committed to continue to show up week after week to all this kind of space where a few group of people like us can come together to tune again with our own hearts, to reconnect to our source, and to elevate our individual frequency. Because for each and every one of us that raises their individual frequency, guess what? We're bringing a lot of people up with us. That's how important this work is. Ellen says, Namaste baby, my heart is raw. Yeah. To me, that only means that it's a heart that is getting ready to grow. You know, when we go to the gym, we exercise, what happens? You wake up sore and kind of raw the next day. You're like, I can't move. But what's happening? Your muscles are growing. So a raw heart is just a heart that is expanding. But as the heart, which is also a muscle, becomes stronger, you grow in your capacity to love, to forgive, to be compassionate. And so be with your raw heart. A raw heart is an indication that you're on the right path. A raw heart is an indication that healing is taking place. A raw heart is an indication that you're getting ready to love more. Leela says, I feel so relaxed again. Thank you. You're very welcome. Ima says, thank you. Isabel says, reconnected in peace. Thank you. Cindy says, thank you, Gaps. I felt such a presence of peace and love. Love you and everyone here. Thank you. Cindy's heart. All right, my beautiful, beloved friends. The time has come to say goodbye. Until next week. All right. It's a bit of an inside joke. I think only one person here knows the implications of that song. All right, so want to remind those of you who feel called to do some deeper work with me, do it in a smaller circle. That Heart Mastery course, the Academy's new introductory course, begins tomorrow. There's still spaces available. You can learn more or sign up at my website, GabrielGonsalves.com. All right, that's it for now. I wish you all a fantastic week. Many blessings to you all, and thank you again for holding the space for me while I was gone. It was also an opportunity for you to deepen your own practice. Remember, I am just a servant here. My job is to continue to point you back into your heart, but it's up to you to continue to come back into your heart over and over again and do the inner work of reconnecting with your own source. I look forward to seeing you next week. We'll be initiating a new month, okay, which means we'll also, like we've been doing over the past year and a half already, we'll be having a new theme. The theme for next month of October, which is just a few days, is returning to your source. So we're going to dedicate each episode to returning to the source of your well-being, returning to your source of your love, returning to the source of your abundance and prosperity. So be prepared then to establish a deeper connection with your own inner source. And not only that, but also expect some deep, meaningful changes to arise out of that. Until next week, please take care of yourself so you can take care of others. And as always, I send you all my love from my heart to yours. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you for joining me in this week's Heartstream. I hope you're walking away feeling more connected to yourself and your divinity, to the planet, to others, and to all of life. Please be sure to subscribe so that you can receive notifications about upcoming broadcasts. And if you would like to sign up for my weekly newsletter, join the Heart Leader community, or register for my upcoming trainings and seminars, be sure to visit my website, GabrielGonzalez.com. Until the next time, please take care of yourself so that you can take care of others. And as always, I send you all my love from my heart to yours. Bye for now.